Hello, colleagues. We used to rely on our sensory system, and world seems to us as a rich and complete picture. However, numerous studies states that our perceptual system is limited in many ways, like perceptual limitation of our retina, blind spot, color vision only in visual focus. Also, attentional limitation, like number of processing items at once. Such limitation, like invisible gorilla and many others. All these states that our subjective, rich internal representation of this visual world is no more than the great illusion. Many scientists try to figure out this misconception. One of these attempts is to implement another mechanism of processing information in our perceptual system, such as summary statistic representation. Okay. In general, this mechanism allows perceptual system process information not by items, but by features these items consist of. So the whole picture analyzed simply by processing individual features. It could be average speed, average direction, average luminance, numerosity, mean size, motion, and many others. Advantage of this mechanism is that unique features processed separately that allows to process all image at one time. Presumably, this mechanism allows to overcome this misconception of general of the grand illusion. Well, the aerial study set a general direction of this field. He presented to his subjects a number of circles on one screen and asked on a following screen to choose one of two circles which perfectly represents the mean size of a previous sample set. And he found, this is table. He found that participants choose most frequently the correct circle, no matter how large the set was, whether it was 4 items or 16 participants, efficiently and precisely choose the correct circle. Also, he found that when participants tried to respond about individual items, individual circles, the precision was above random choice. So they can't respond actually about individual, but quite precise about set. Nevertheless, recent studies findings propose that this summary statistic mechanism not so general. It's limited in some ways, like in time. At least it requires 200 milliseconds to perform these statistics. Also, it's limited in number of sets that can be computed at once, dimensions that could be computed at once. And yes, in our study, we're interested in a role of attention and attentional resources in formant of this summary statistical representation. We hypothesize that this mechanism goes separately from attention, and because of this, do not require attentional resources. To investigate this, we use a special mechanism, summary rapid serial visual presentation, and where with 2 attentional tasks. For example, we see here, like, first attentional task is to identify letter, and the following is ensemble. The participants instructed to estimate mean size. And in our experiment, we expect to have 2 possible patterns of behavioral data. One, that due to attentional load, the response rate, the precision will be lower, and distribution of responses on a table will be greater. It's because our perception still analyze all these circles, but with less precision. So this light is more faint. In other case, we'll obtain quite narrow results, narrow distribution of results, but shift to one or another direction, because the scope of attention is shrink, and because of load of attention, it's no more possible to analyze ensemble set. Alright, okay, and we run 3 experiments in order to find which way is the proper one. We control external light and sound by conducting an experiment in a special room. There were 36 participants, and 36 participants, each got a monetary reward. We conduct within group experiment with 2 blocks. Each block is instruction. So in one case, participant instructed to respond only about ensemble, mean size of ensemble, this circle. And in other instructions, they have to respond about mean size and identify which letter it was in a trial, whether it's A, T, or H. On the bottom of screen, you see a sequence of presentation. It's almost the same as it was in the experiment. So each participant received a sequence of letters in the center of screen. Most of them were black, and one of them was white. Participants started to identify white letter and estimate the mean size of circles. Also, there were 4 in first experiment. We write time difference between first task and second task. There were 4 conditions: 1, 2, 4, and 700 milliseconds between tasks. We want to see how this effect develops. In the results, it is clear that participants respond less precise on first 200 milliseconds, while for later logs, precision rate was a bit higher. This scale represents precision rate. It's in percents, so as lower as worse responses. As we expect, there is no difference between instruction type. No matter whether there was a dual task or single task, participants give a response with the same precision. Well, once again, we found a significant decrease on the first log. Probably it is due to attentional capture, that attention captured by previously presented letter and lower the accuracy. These results correspond with the second, this picture where attention is shrink, scope of attention shrink, yeah. In following experiment, we try to replicate obtained data, also increase number of logs, and yes, almost all was the same. Also, we vary types of distribution of response circle in order to check whether it affects the experiment or not. There was 6 types of logs here. Okay, and in response we see quite a similar effect as we obtained in a previous experiment. We see a significant decrease in the precision rate, precision accuracy on the first log, but this effect is specific for 100 milliseconds. Presumably, we didn't obtain it for 200 milliseconds because our attention is able to handle this short time difference, but only if response circles is not so extreme, have not so extreme values, if their distribution more narrow. Also, we got no difference between instruction type, which is quite same as previous experiment, and that responses same narrow on about 23% of error. In following experiment, we just want to find whether we make stimulation accurately whether it evokes attentional blink effect as in a classical experiment, and we just replicate classical Raman paradigm. He used instead of ensembles detection task of X letter. In half of trials there was X, another not. And participant response method. We obtained same results as Raymond got. There was a difference, significant difference between instruction time, dual task performed way less accurate than single task. Also we see that on 3 and 200 millisecond precision rate is lower than all other responses. That means that we set all variables in our stimulation properly and may say something about attentional blink and how it affects summary statistic perception. Okay, these slides. And in general discussion, we found our task. Yeah, okay. We found that we actually lowered attention with this white letter. It corresponds with Raymond experiments. And it is interesting, the final results, that in contrast to attentional task, computation statistics do not sensitive to instruction, and it's not sensitive to the number of attentional tasks, but it's sensitive to attentional load. And as more attentional load, as less precise participants are. That's interesting results we obtained. I wanted to say thank you to all colleagues, my supervisor, and all other students that helped me to complete my diploma. Thank you.